Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. I will give a very introductory lectures on the superconductivity. As the Professor Mishra told that this is really a very exotic area of uh, work, not only from the scientific point of view, but also from the engineering point of view. In fact, the although this area was developed in 1911, but the engineering aspect of this material started almost 1960s or 70s. I will share my presentation. If you have any problem, please stop me and tell where if you want to ask any questions also. You see, when we are talking about superconductors, but in a materials which is a conductors or in the area of resistance, resistivity in those areas, but we are talking in a class of magnetic materials. This is quite interesting, but slowly we'll find why we are teaching this material in a magnetic class. This superconductivity is the most interesting area, and we found that there are so many Nobel laureates has got their award by working in this area. Probably this is the highest of Nobel Award winners worked in this exotic area of superconductivities. The first Nobel Prize was received in 1913, then 1962, and you see in 1972 that Bardeen, Cooper, and Schrieffer got the Nobel Prize for the development of theory of superconductivity. So this is an area where first experiment was conducted and people got the Nobel Prize. And it's almost 50 plus years, then the theory has been developed. And then 1973, 1978, 1987, even in 2003. So you understand how important in this area is, both from the physics point of view and also from the engineering point of view. To understand the superconductivity, we have to understand first about the conductors. In normal metals are made of atoms, and these metal atoms are positioned in a regular symmetry array called the lattice. They are heavy and they don't want to move around. Uh, these atoms lower their energy by donating one or more electrons in the metals. So these atoms have become a positive ion, and there are electrons around these metals. These light electrons are free to move around, or we can call it is the free electron. When an external force, in this case a voltage, electrical voltage is applied on the metal, electrons move from one place to other. Electrons carry negative charges and electricity conducts in metal with the movement of electrons by the external force. This we all know. So when we apply a voltage, electrons feel a force and the electrons will move from one end to the other. During this process, the electrons getting impeded, and this impeding motion, or the cause of this impeding motion, is resulted on the resistance of the materials. If we raise the temperature, the lattice vibrations is taking place, and there is the interactions with the electrons and the phonon of the materials. The phonon is coming from the lattice vibrations. It is the quantum of lattice vibration. So resistivity originates from electron and phonon interaction, and it depends on the temperatures. We all know the resistance that we read in our higher secondary classes, that resistance is the resistivity plus length by area. So we found that resistance is a function of temperature. So if we increase the temperature, the resistance of the material increases, resistivity of the material increases, and if we lower down, it will go towards zero. However, at the low temperature, it don't go to zero in most of the materials because of the impurity. So in ordinary conductors such as copper or silver, the decreases is limited by the impurity and other defects. So we can say the resistivity is the rho zero plus rho t. This rho zero is the residual resistivity of the material, and this is coming from the interaction of the electrons and the impurity or defects at low temperatures. So the electron phonon scattering of the lattice interaction at high temperature and electron scattering from impurities and defects at the low temperature. In 1911, Kamerlingh Wens, who is basically a pioneer work for the study of the liquid helium. The helium liquefy around 4 K. So at this temperature, he was trying to measure the different properties of the materials. He was doing work with the mercury, and he was measuring the resistance of the mercury at the low temperatures. So this is the usual picture of a materials with the temperature, even at the low temperature, because there was an interactions for the electron phonon and also electron and the impurities, scattering from the impurities. But we found that after certain temperature, if we want to lower down the temperature further, electron was expecting a graph like this, so that this will come as a residual resistivity. But instead of that, we found that there is a sudden drop in resistances occurring. This sudden drop in resistance open up a new area of research, that is the superconductors. So the materials that display sudden drop of resistance at low temperature and remain there upon further cooling are called the superconductors. So a materials has been discovered, and he received the Nobel Prize in 1913. It is called the superconductors because the resistance of the material is zero. It is coming at 10 to the power minus 225 ohm, that's almost zero. The temperature at which the attained superconductivity is called the critical temperature Tc. So this is the temperature which is known as the critical temperature, from where it suddenly drops attain the superconductivity state. You see, you should not confuse this Tc in magnetic materials. Many of the times you will find that is the Curie temperature. But whenever you will come to the superconductivity, it is termed as the critical temperature, Tc. Subsequently, he studied various other elements, and he found that tin is also showing the similar behavior. Lead is also showing the similar behavior. There, the Tc for mercury is 4.15. This is in Kelvin. Tin is 3.72, and the lead is 7.19. So we can find that the materials which is coming at certain temperature, the resistance is absolute zero. But it is also showing an interesting magnetic phenomenon. What this magnetic phenomena? This phenomena is named as Meissner effect, and this is one of the fundamental properties of superconductors. Resistance zero is one of the fundamental property of the superconductors, and the Meissner effect is also one of the fundamental properties of superconductors. What it is? You see, when we are using a normal conductors, just like copper, silver, gold, those conductors. If we use those conductors and apply a magnetic field, what will happen? At when we are just applying a magnetic field, this conductor will try to oppose this magnetic field due to the formation of eddy current. But because when we are applying, there is a rate of change of flux, so it will oppose this magnetic field. But with time, because it is now a static magnetic field, so the eddy current will die down, and a magnetic flux will go from the inside this material. So this is the picture of a normal conductors. The picture is same if we cool down to the lowest temperature. Now, if we withdraw it, again we will found that a eddy current will be generated, but this eddy current will also die down quickly. Now, what will happen in case of superconductors? In case of superconductors, if we apply a magnetic field in the normal state, what is the normal state? That is that above the critical temperature of the superconducting materials. This is the material, this is the situation where I can say the mercury is in the normal state. This is the situation I will say the mercury is in the superconducting state. So in the normal condition, if we apply a magnetic field, it will behave just like a other materials. It will magnetic flux will penetrate this material and go from one side to another side. Now, if we try to cool down, what will happen? If we want to cool down below the STC, then it will repel all this magnetic flux. So you can understand how they are different from a normal metal and the superconductors. And if we now draw a magnetic field off, then you see here the eddy current was formed and this eddy current was died down. But here, this expel of magnetic flux will be generating a current through this material, and that is giving an opposing force, so that the flux are being expelled by this material. So this current, what is generated, it cannot die down because the resistance of the material is 0. So there is nothing to dissipate this current. So if we put the magnetic field off, the persistent current flows inside the conductor for an infinite time. This effect, that is that repelling this magnetic flux from this material, is known as the Meissner effect, and we call it when a specimen is placed in a magnetic field and then cooled through the transition temperature for superconductivity, magnetic flux originally present is rejected from the specimen. This is called the Meissner effect. And you understand, there is another magnetic phenomena exists which oppose this magnetic flux, that is called diamagnetism. How we define a diamagnetism? Diamagnetism is a magnetism which is oppose the application of a external magnetic field. Here also, this material is opposing the presence of external magnetic field. Okay. So Meissner effect, which states that inside the superconductor, in its superconducting state, the magnetic flux density is 0, is one of the fundamental properties of the superconductors. And this has come not due to the consequence of zero electrical resistivity, but as an additional characteristics of the superconductor. So if we want to understand that the material is superconductor or not, the conductivity is 0, a conductivity infinite, or the resistivity is 0 is not the criteria to be a material a superconductor. One of the major criteria is that it should show the Meissner effect, and we will show how this Meissner effect is so much related to the magnetic phenomena. So, in the case of superconducting state, we know the flux density B, or magnetic induction, is equal to applied magnetic field plus 4 pi m. That is, the HA is the applied magnetic field and M is the magnetization. However, at the superconducting state, it repels the magnetic flux. So the B is 0. So if we have the B is 0, then we can put that susceptibility, that is the chi, is equal to M by HA at H tends to 0, that is very small field, is minus 1 by 4 pi, or it is minus 1 for the SI unit. So negative susceptibility is the characters of diamagnetic materials. So this material superconductor also show a diamagnetic in nature. And you see, this Meissner effect suggests that minus 1 by 4 pi, that is the maximum diamagnetism value you can achieve in a material. So the Meissner suggests that the perfect diamagnetism is an essential property of the superconducting state. So this material superconductor is a resistivity 0 or resistance is 0, and it should be a perfect diamagnetic materials. This how it different from the usual diamagnetism. Although it is a diamagnetic material, but they are different from the usual diamagnetic materials. The negative magnetization is not caused by the alignment or the creation of magnetic moments on constituent atoms. It results from the electric current that is flowing without resistance in a thin shell around the outer surface of the superconductors. So the origin in the normal diamagnetism and diamagnetism in superconductivity are different. In normal diamagnetism, it is the orbital motion of the electron across the nucleus is the cause of the diamagnetism. In normal material, diamagnetism is weak from magnetism point of view. It is non-permanent. If we withdraw the external magnetic field, it will again come to its original position and persist only in the presence of the external field. In superconductor, the perfect and strong diamagnetism arises from the persistent screening of current which flow to oppose the magnetic field. That is the Meissner effect, not solely the orbital motion of the electron.